How about now? Yeah, now you can hear me, but with a lot of noise around me, right? I need to fix this for a moment. Not sure why Easy Effects is not working. Pipewire, default input, default output. I'm still here, just struggling with my new microphone setup. La 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 la. Why is this not picking up the mic? That's so strange. I know you can hear me now, but my voice processing software is not working for some reason, and I want to clear up the noise around me. Let's quit this up. Let's run it again. Nope, still not working. That's so odd. So weird. OBS. Enable. La 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 la. Oh, now it's working. Now it's working. Let me switch properties. The effects. Okay. Yeah, now it should be clear. Now the voice should be clear without the noise around me. I'm still a bit learning on how to use Easy Effects. So Easy Effects is a free software application. Let me switch to the other screen to show it to you. That's Easy Effects. So basically there is input, output, pipewire settings. So in pipewire settings, this part is not that relevant. I mean, it is because you need to choose which input you're taking for processing, what is the output and stuff like that. But on input, you have effects, and there are some effects that I have enabled here. You can also add more of them: auto gain, bass enhancer, bass loudness, compressor. Actually, I think I need to turn up the volume a little bit. Let me do that. Where do I do that? In OBS or here? Stereo tools, input, output. Let's see if I can just add gain here. Gate, level, limiter, loudness, speech processor. I can add gain in OBS. It's here. Let's just add some gain in OBS. Okay, filters, noise gate, compressor, compressor output. How loud can you hear me? It's not loud enough, right? I can see that my meter is not entering the yellow bar. Which one is good for gain? Pitch, noise, multiband, maximum loudness. Let's see what loudness is doing. Output. But I can do loudness with speech processor, right? So let's turn off this one, speech processor, input, output. I'm a bit confused by what is input and what is output in here, but I suppose now be warned, there will be loudness increase in a couple of seconds, so you might want to turn down your volume on your end just to be clear what is going on with your ears. There we go, 10 decibels up, and now we are in yellow. I'm gonna increase it more from here, so decrease the volume on your end now. 16. Okay, we're now hitting red. I think this should be fine. This should be fine. Let me bring it closer to my mouth, and that should work. That should work, I think. If it seems too loud on your end, let me know. But I think it should be good for now. XGUI for Studio, but is the switch to a MIT license from GPL a bad thing? A lot of Linux users think it is. Which topic are you talking about, XGUI for Studio? The title of the live stream is a joke, by the way. It's not really about anything Rust, but if you want, we can talk about Rust. Just let me know which is the sudo rs, but sudo is not GPL. Sudo is not GPL licensed, as far as I know. Sudo, how do we let me do it like this, man. Sudo I'm pretty sure it's not GPL. Sudo.ws about license. That's not what I wanted. Turn off that one. I want it in this browser. Sudo license distributed. Permission to use, copy, modify for any purpose with or without fee is hereby granted, provided that the above copyright notice and this permission notice appear in all copies. That sounds a little bit like MIT license to me. The software is provided as is. Liabilities, sponsorships, Python plugin, and that part is not relevant. This is less relevant. The files following license. So there are multiple licenses here. None of them appear to be GPL. The embedded copy, XGUI for Studio says that can be bad. Code of conduct. We abide by the Rust code of conduct and ask that you do as well. Where did you read that on my screen? Code of, there is no such thing as code of conduct on this web page. You told me that a lot of Linux users think it's bad that sudo switched from GPL to MIT, but sudo is not GPL licensed. Sudo already is a little bit like MIT. Let me take all of this and ChatGPT. I mean, first of all, who told you that sudo is GPL licensed? That is a good question. Which, like, is this MIT or GPL? I know it's not GPL, but I want the bot to answer my question. Is this MIT or GPL license or something similar? And now I'm gonna paste it. The license you provided is not strictly either of those, but it shares some similarities. It appears to be a custom license that allows for broad freedom of use, similar to permissive license like that's what I said, similar to MIT. However, there is no explicit reference to being MIT. A lot of Linux, XGUI for Studio, a lot of Linux users think it was GPL. Like, when you say was, you are saying like sudo has transitioned from one licensing model to another, but sudo never did change anything. Sudo is still here. Nothing really changed. I'm trying to follow what you're saying so I can better answer your question, because if I don't understand the question, then my answer is going to be not good. The other developers are making new software that does privilege escalation, and they are calling it sudo-rs, I suppose. Sudo-rs. This is a new project. Ne treba mi to. Let's open one of these websites. Maybe there is a link to the source. Who is making? Todd Miller made sudo. Ubuntu is switching to default sudo tool to a new version called sudo-rs. The project is developed by Trifecta Technology Foundation. Let's see what that is. A group that focuses on building secure open source tools that are important for everyone. They are working together with Todd Miller, the person who has maintained the original sudo for over 30 years. The new sudo-rs version is like a testing ground. Ubuntu wants to see how it works for everyone and gather feedback. Fine. Arkboy, welcome in. I use FOSSome window manager, by the way. Oh, well, fine. I'm trying to grasp what this means if they are working with Todd Miller here. Joseph DiGarmo, welcome in. I updated my web browsers and Brave and Chrome still crashing. I completely uninstalled Brave and set Firefox as my default browser permanently. Some of the Chromium-based browsers tend to crash for no apparent reason on various of computers of mine, so it's a little bit odd. On some of my computers, they never crash. On some of my computers, they do crash, and it seems to be related to the Chromium base somehow. I just never understood the pattern to understand how and when is it going on. Right now, I have Vivaldi running on this computer from which I'm streaming. On this computer, it rarely ever, if ever, crashes, but on my other computer it crashes. So I don't know. Maybe it's a problem with Chromium and NVIDIA. That part, the NVIDIA part, I don't think so, because I don't have NVIDIA on any of my computers, and I still get crashes from Chromium-based browsers. So I think it's something related to libraries that are on your system. Maybe try Brave from Flatpak, from FlatHub actually. Maybe try that one and see if that one is crashing. If that one isn't crashing, it could be the libraries on your operating system. If that one still is crashing, then I don't know. Chrome users reported crashing on various operating systems, including Android, after recent updates. I can only suggest trying the FlatHub version and see how that goes. Not with the goal of switching to the FlatHub version, just in order to get an idea if that one behaves any differently, because the FlatHub version comes with its own libraries. Welcome in, Zoran. Strange. Otvorio sam si vrata zbog klime. Inače bi umrel. Arkboy is asking, so when is Linux-RS coming? Probably never, to be honest. That's my opinion. Arkboy is saying, at this point, rename Ubuntu to Rust Linux. That's literally what it is. Linux using as much Rust as possible. I don't think that Linux will get... When I said Linux, I mean the kernel. I don't think the kernel will get the majority of its code written in Rust. Not anytime soon. I mean, never. I don't think that's happening. But who knows? The thing is, I'm not sure who I have discussed this with recently. Maybe it's one of my comments or something like that. Yeah, on my Odyssey channel. Linus Torvalds needs to think ahead in regards to maintaining Linux. And people who know how to program in C language, I think the average of those people is getting older. Are you following what I mean by this? I'm not saying that people who code in C are old. I'm just saying that on average they are getting older, and more young people simply don't ever learn C because Rust is hype, and hype draws the younger mind. And over the course of time, there will be a lot of younger people who know Rust more or less, and the Linux kernel will be requiring more of the fresh talent to help with maintenance and development of the kernel. And if over the years there will be less of the knowledgeable C developers and more of the knowledgeable Rust developers, then the Linus Torvalds will have a little choice in this matter. He will want more people working on the kernel, and he is possibly going to be forced to accommodate these people to work on Linux, or else watch the project die. I'm now talking about doom and gloom a little bit, and this is intentional, but I just want to reach out and give you an example of a possible future. I'm not saying that everyone is going to stop learning C, because C is still awesome, but younger people prefer the hype language, not necessarily the better language, but this one is currently hype, and you can't really do anything about that. You can't tell people, do not learn this language, learn this one. It doesn't really work that way. I'm just catching up with chat, which appears to be behind my microphone. Let me just move some of my windows out of the way so I can read them easier. Joseph, I'm using Fedora 42 KDE, XGUI for Studio. I'm trying Brave. Joseph, the Garmo Chrome crashed recently on Arch Linux as well. I don't really use Chrome, so I don't know about that. I do use other Chromium browsers. Arkboy, at this point, rename Ubuntu dropping X11 support after the announcement of X Libre. That's incorrect, Joseph de Garmo. It is correct that they have announced this after the announcement of X Libre, but this has been planned for the past 2 years. Both Ubuntu and Fedora have been announcing the permanent switch to Wayland for the past 2 years. Simply, if you have been following the news, the plan was to remove the defaults so that when you install the fresh installation both of Fedora and Ubuntu, default will be Wayland. They have already done that in the previous version of the operating system. The next step was to remove the X11 option from the login manager, but you will still be able to put it back simply by changing one config file. The third step in the plan was to remove the system package that gives you an option that you get X11 session, but it would still be in the repository, so you can just apt install or DNF install the required package that you need to get X11 back into fully functional state. And the fourth stage is supposed to be to remove the X11 package completely from the distribution repository so that you can no longer install it at all, unless you want to install it manually, of course, compiling and stuff like that. So this is nothing new. The Ex Libre stuff has, in my opinion, it has nothing to do with Ubuntu announcing their next step in removing X11. It has just been planned for a couple of years. Trying to catch up with some older chat. I use Fedora with Cosmic desktop environment, but might try Cache OS or Enduberus. I have no clue what that is. You should talk about X Libre. We can talk about X Libre. We can talk about that X Libre X11. But first, we are going to read the rest of the chat. Canonical, GNOME, and Red Hat are acting in protest of X Libre. That could be the case, but the fact that they are turning off X11 is not in protest of X Libre. I prefer shiny and not rusty. Mr. I suck at reading these names. MRC. That's a year, right? MRC VRIY. I don't know. X Libre is anti-DEI, so that's so based. That's not based. Being anti-DEI is not based, in my opinion. That's just being normal. The C programming language was created in early 1970s, specifically between 1972 and 73, making it approximately 52/53 years old as of 2025. Thank you, Zoran. Joseph says, GNOME, Cosmic, and Budgie becoming Wayland-only desktops. The writing is on the wall here. Yes, Open Mandriva and Dev1 should switch to X Libre. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. X Libre should become mainstream. Change my mind. Depending on what you expect. If the development behind X Libre proves that they have what it takes to bring it to the next generation of X server, and there is a lot of stuff missing from X server. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot more of the stuff missing from Wayland protocol, but even X11 is pretty old and it needs proper maintenance. So if this new bunch of developers are capable of doing it, and I mean doing it properly, then why not? I think it should be adopted. It's just that they have a lot to prove. The developer behind the one who has been sending a lot of patches towards free desktop, whose patches were never accepted, and stuff like that. If he proves that he is I don't know how to say it in English, but if he is up to the task, and all of the community that is going to work with him, if they are all up to the task with bringing X11 to the next generation of X server, let's call it X12 just for the purpose of this live stream. Let's just call it X12. So X12 in my mind is like a completely fixed X11. By fixed, I mean everything that we all know that is wrong with X11, all of the reasons why everyone seems to be wanting to switch to the to Wayland. The entire list needs to be chewed on and brought into the spotlight. It needs to become something like X12, and if they can't get there, then I don't think that any distribution is going to use this X server. It is just the way it is. I have some chat on Twitch. That's just my bot. Too bad. Joseph de Garma says Ex Libre is in the Artix Linux repos already. That's interesting. Felipe Avelar, I'm right wing, but come on, X sucks. We have been using X server for the past, I don't know, 30 years, so maybe more. And I wouldn't say it sucks. I still use it at work. Some of the applications that I need for work, they simply don't work with Wayland, and then I don't use Wayland. So I'm not saying Wayland sucks or X doesn't suck. It's just that I need X server for my work because there is no alternative. I need it before my software starts functioning on Wayland. So there is a lot of ways to go with Wayland until everyone can properly adopt it. In the meantime, if another team, such as the Ex Libre team, can overtake the Wayland development and bring forth the X12, then I don't see a reason why should we switch to Wayland if X12 is better, but I'm just talking hypothetical because I have no clue what is going to happen. Just reading the chat. Dev1 such a good distro, I will switch to it if the community who is only the current maintainers of Void Links abandons Void. Yes, Yuan, I don't know how to read it, Juan, got kicked out for a complicated reason. Sorry, I don't know who Juan is, but I suppose someone from Void development team. Arcboy says I currently use X. I couldn't disagree more with Felipe. I don't think it's about agreeing or disagreeing. It's just that it's a tool. Both the X server is a tool, and well, Wayland is not a tool, but Wayland is not software. But you use what works for you and for your work case. So for my work case, I need X, so I can't say that it sucks because it's the only tool that works for my work. At home, I'm on Wayland. KD, actually. Even Marco Sage says even in release candidate 1, it's super stable, Debian 13. What do you mean release candidate 1? There is no release candidate. The Debian 13 is currently in testing in one of the frozen stages. At least KDE will still support X11. I'm not so sure how long will that work, because to me it kind of feels that KDE is starting to not abandon X11 in terms of removing the support, but more like it's stalled, and they're not kind of fixing their X11 bugs, and they're not adding new functionalities and stuff like that. I'm not sure that they are going to support X11, because when you tell me support, my first thought when you say the word support means developing new features for X11. Zoran says, whatever happens, you will have the choice to follow or not. That is the freedom of Linux and all the different distros. If you do not like systemd, go with dev1. Yes, correct. Zoran says, if you do not like X, go with Wayland or Hyperland. That's a bit of a weird sentence, but I agree. The freedom of choice, snap or flatpak or up images. I'm just reading the chat here. XGOI for Studio, do Hyperland accept everyone? As far as I know, yes. They accept everyone's contributions if it's anything that is worth accepting. The code, I mean. There's so much choice, yeah. There is no left or right in Linux. GNU. There is freedom of choice. I'm just reading still through the chat. Joseph de Garmo, when I tried Debian 13, I found some KDE bugs not found on Fedora or Arch. Joseph, which KDE bugs did you find? I am curious. Zoran says, as a personal example, the DF tool comes with the installation, but I prefer DUF, but there is disk also. Joseph says, I've been defaulting to Wayland for the past 6 months or so. Joseph, which Wayland? KDE Wayland or GNOME Wayland or Hyperland Wayland? They are all different, because Wayland is not a, I wanted to say server, but it's not server, it's not software, it's not nothing. It's just protocol defined by a set of rules. So the way KDE develops their Wayland is different than the way GNOME develops their Wayland server. I mean compositor, and it's different from the way Hyperland develops their Wayland. So we have a lot of different Waylands, and in contrast, we have only one X server. XGUI for Studio, I only use Wayland because of NVIDIA. Because you don't have NVIDIA, or because you do have NVIDIA? Because NVIDIA is the worst graphics card that you can use with Wayland compositors. Intel and AMD Radeon work perfectly with Wayland compositors, and NVIDIA really does not. So with NVIDIA, it's much better to use X for now. XGUI for Studio, if I could switch to X Libre, I 100% would. But why? Just to show your support for something that has not been proven to be worth using? I'm not against X Libre. I just want them to make something good first, and then I will use it. I don't want to adopt a promise. That's kind of a shitty thing to do. Wayland and Hyperland are the same. Brew, yeah, Eric Boy, correct. Marco Sage, Mint with Wayland is still experimental. You mean Cinnamon? Yeah, they're still working on it. Alejandro Blumix Bonilla, what is X Libre? A fork of X11? Yes, correct. ArcBoy Hyperland is bad in my opinion. It has no features whatsoever other than some stupid eye candy, which I personally don't care about. Well, yeah, it's a window manager, so it's not supposed to be a desktop environment. Have you used ArcBoy? Have you used window managers in the past at all? I mean, they are all featureless, pretty much, in comparison to desktop environments. So they're not really supposed to have many features. They are supposed to manage your windows. That's why they are called window managers. You are supposed to add features on your own by running different software along with the window manager of your choice. So I don't think that sorry, not Wayland, but I don't think that Hyperland is bad. I think they're doing a good job in terms of being a window manager. XGUI4 Studio says a based fork I may add in regards to Xlibre. Alejandro says I like Hyperland. Joseph says Debian 13 would not let me change the SDDM background through settings for some reason, and I use KDE Wayland. We'll see. I haven't tried changing the background, but I do remember that in KDE you need to go to the SDDM settings, and then you need to press a button to unlock the super user mode, the root mode, the whatever you call it, in that window, and then you can change the background. But if you say that there is a bug with that, I have to believe you because I haven't tried it. Alejandro says I hate my NVIDIA. Welcome to the club. I have had RTX 3080 a couple of years ago, and the experience with it wasn't that great on Linux, so I switched to Radeon. I no longer want to switch my graphics card. It's been super great on Linux since I switched to Radeon. I do not wish anything better than I already have. So you will most likely never see me switching back to NVIDIA simply because I don't want to downgrade myself. It's just too pleasant on Linux with Radeon cards. Marcos H says, yep, with Cinnamon. XGUI4 Studio says, I want to support Xlibre so X11 won't die. Yeah, I understand that, but look, I would like to support them in the same way, but they really need to prove themselves first. If this project fails completely in 1 month because they lack the leadership and the enthusiasm or something, then it will be a good choice on my end not to rush too much into something that is nothing yet, but if they make a release after release after release, and if they prove that they are on top of their job, then of course, why not? Like, really, why not? If they're doing a good job, then why not use a good software? Even with Rust-based software, if it's a good software, why not use a good Rust-based software, even if you dislike the programming language or the people behind it? But if it's a good software and it works well, then why not? I mean, here is what is the name of this thing? I completely forgot. Matrix Fractal, yeah. So this is Fractal Matrix client, and it's written in Rust. It works well. It's simple. It's not bloated as the original Element is, and I like it. I have my chats on the left side. On the right side, I have the content of my chat. All of the basic features are here, and it works. It is written in Rust, so for some reason this is a deal breaker, but for me it's a good program that works the way I want it to work, and it's fine. Same goes with Xlibre. I will support Xlibre if it does what I need it to do. Joseph says KDE is superior in every way. Plasma 6 just makes me want to abandon all desktops. It's fine. It's fine. I also use Plasma on 2 of my computers, and on the third one I use Hyperland. but it's a matter of choice. We possibly have too many desktop environments. Alejandro is asking why it's so important to keep Xorg alive. Wayland is more secure, no? It could be that it is more secure by design, but that doesn't really mean that X cannot be made as secure as Wayland, or even more so. But it needs a lot of reworking of its internals. That's why I called it X12. I mean, X12 doesn't exist, but the idea of X12 in my head is something that one day could come out of the projects such as Ex Libre if they work hard enough on it. I think it's possible. So why would we want to support it? I don't know. In one way, I would love if Linux would just go one direction and not bother with supporting two different types of compositors or X servers, whatever you want to call it. But then again, it's a choice. It's a choice. So it has always been a choice on Linux. You just can't stop the development of choice on Linux. It's free software. Everyone does what they want to do. And also Wayland is a bit not well supported on BSDs. And from one perspective, I don't like that. Also systemd not supported on BSDs and stuff like that. You could argue both ways that all of the Linux exclusive software might be good in staying Linux exclusive software, but in the sense of catering to broader community of users, I often think that it's better if software is written in a way that it works on all of the free software operating systems, including BSDs. So from one perspective, it's a bit of a shame when stuff that doesn't even attempt to target the alternative operating systems. I might have skipped to a different topic now, but I hope I hope you understand what I'm saying with this. XGUI4 Studio says that X11 is better for accessibility, some hardware support, and app support, and some workflow. I think that's a personal preference, but it's a personal preference with which I actually agree. Marco Sage, did you see the KDE welcomes Windows 10 users ad? Nope, I did not. I can assume it's on YouTube. I can also go to KDE's website. Support good people, Plasma, install, discover, buy. Where is this ad? Show me this Windows ad. I mean, welcome Windows users ad. Beta release, frameworks, gear, Plasma, community. Where is this ad? Let's go to YouTube. KDE Plasma welcomes Windows users. Let's see if such a thing exists. How do I sort it? Filters. This month, maybe? KDE encourages. Help me out. Where is this? Where is this ad? The one Windows 10 exiles. But this is a distro tester. This is not KDE. KDE for Windows 10 exiles. KDE for Windows 10 exiles. I want to see the source. Ah, so that when you said an ad, I thought that it was a video. Your computer is toast. Running Windows 10 on your computer on October 14th, Microsoft wants to turn it into junk. It may seem like it continues to work after that date for a bit, but when Microsoft stops support for Windows 10, your perfectly good computer will be officially obsolete. Windows 10 will degrade as more and more bugs come to light with nobody to correct them. You risk being hacked. Your data, identity, and control over your device could be stolen. New versions of your apps will not run, but Microsoft will still block you from upgrading to the next version of Windows until you buy the new computer that they decide. You will be forced to spend your hard-earned cash and will be unwillingly polluting the earth and water as your old machine rots in a landfill. The air will also be polluted with the emission that comes from manufacturing and shipping a new device you don't really need. Even if you agree to this tech extortion now, in a few years' time, they will do it again as they have done many times in the past. But things don't have to be this way. What you can do, upgrade the smart way. Keep the machine you've got and switch to Linux and Plasma. Linux can give a new life to your laptop. Combined with KDE's Plasma desktop, you get all the advantages of the safety, stability, and high tech of Linux, with all the features of a beautiful, modern, and powerful graphic environment. Not sure why is this blank here, but okay, could be my browser. And it won't work on the machine you already have. Even machines that are 15 years old can happily run Plasma, a modern, safe operating system that won't let you down. You can get Plasma from many Linux flavors. Here are a few. You can install Linux yourself. Installing Linux is not as hard as it used to be, but you must read the instructions to do so very carefully. Or if you have never installed an operating system before, we have events and places all over the world. You can go with your machine and someone will help you out. Why Plasma? Here are some reasons to choose Plasma as your next upgrade from Windows. Plasma is easy. Plasma adapts to you. Plasma comes free of licensing costs. Plasma is powerful. Looks are not everything. Plasma also packs dozens of useful features that make it pleasant to use. Did you ever feel constrained by just one desktop? Linux users regularly use 4, but you can have more if you like and arrange them on Cube. For the technically minded, need to connect to your web server to update your blog or your cloud to upload photos, or even your software repository for development. Just open up Dolphin, Plasma's File Explorer, and use its connectivity tools that include FTP, SSH clients, stuff like that. Get ready. Do not expect the same things you would use in Windows. Trust your package manager. What you should not do. Do not go hunting for software on the web. Linux is all about keeping yourself safe, and the resources explained above do that. What you will miss. Keeping all your files and folders will require some planning, but it's not hard. No viruses or virus-related scams. No more ads. No spyware leaking your activity. No forced updates. No surprise app changes. No forced registration, subscription, hidden costs. It's a solid read. It requires a person who is willing to read, but it's a good read. Welcome in, Muhammad Wagih. What distribution are you using? I'm using Arch Linux. XGUI 4 Studio. How to install Xlibre on a virtual machine? I don't know. Maybe they have some instructions on how to compile it. This memory safety is such a buzzword. Like it sounds when Rust people are advertising memory safety, like in literal titles of their software, it sounds exactly as I am watching a Apple keynote, which consists of every second sentence containing the word magic. XGUI for Studio says Windows 11 system requirements is Linux best add ever. Alejandro is asking, I am starting with C. Any advices? Alejandro, I also started learning C, and I'm not really the person who should be giving you advice, but I asked other people to give me advice, and most of them told me just to read the original book from the original developer of the C language. So that's what I started doing, and I just run along his examples, and a little by little, I'm starting to grasp on how C works and how it functions. I'm not sure if I'm going to read the entire book, but so far so good. I'm running through examples, and it's fine. It's a good starting point, I think. What is the title of the book? Let me just fetch it. I'm searching for it, but I have a lot of books. C programming, C programming, C programming. That's not the one. That's not the one. That's not the one. Assembly language book. Sorry, I'm browsing my books on a different screen. Linux command line book. There is also a C book from Richard Stallman, but that one is a bit advanced, so don't go with that one. Okay. C programming, Dennis M. Ritchie, Brian W. Kearney, and this one. This one. Why does it look like shit? Okay, because it's a scan. Dismiss. Get your book from wherever you like. I'm not advertising Amazon here. It was just a convenient link to click, but basically the C programming language from this author down there, Brian W. Kernighan and Dennis M. Ritchie. These guys are the reason why we have C programming language. There are two versions. The second one is slightly more complete because the first book was created before the standard of the C programming language was created. So the developers of the C language have made the book, and then the standard was created by ANSI Association or whatever you call them, and the standard C was slightly different from the original C language, so they made a second edition of the book that's called ANSI C. So basically you will probably want that one. It's very similar to the original book, but there are slight differences. So basically this one is like the C99 version, I think. You can also read it on archive.org, but it looks blurry. Let me just see it on my other screen. Oh, it's not blurry anymore. It's not blurry on my second screen. Yeah, it's just that my resolution is low. I'm gonna drop this one in chat. Here, you can click the link in chat. It will open up the archive.org, so you can scrub through it before you decide whether you want to buy it or download it from somewhere or whatever. Alyosha thinks that you should start with C++. Personally, I don't agree that you should start with C++. C is much simpler and much easier to get started with. So I don't see the reason why would you start with C++. C++ you can learn later as an upgrade to your C skills, or simply decide that you really don't want to learn C++ and maybe switch to Python or something like that, like a high-level language that will help you with the high-level stuff, and then you can go back to low-level stuff with C. I don't know. Obviously, you're going to get a lot more advice from the people in chat, so decide on your own with what you want to start. I have already decided on, for myself. Ahmed says, in my opinion, people who actually need modern hardware usually do stuff like gaming, video editing, compiling software, and 3D work. If you don't do that, any old 64-bit computer will be just fine with Linux. I do video editing. Sometimes I do it on my laptop, which is 8th generation Intel Ultrabook. It's It's like 7 years old. It's not old. It makes my videos perfectly fine. It has enough grunt to do the video rendering. So Blackjack says Rust is memory safe, but the consumer memory is not safe. XGUI4 Studio says memory safety is the only thing Rust have for, according to the Rust cult. It is marketed a lot. Anusha says it's also object oriented. Marco says Rusty objects programming language comes with free tetanus shot. The C programming language says Zoran, 2nd edition, you can find on archive. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't reading the chat, but we are obviously synchronized properly. Ahmed says Brian Kernigan and Dennis Ritchie, basically legends. Yeah. C is the grandmother of all languages. Those are inventors of Unix too. And Ken Thompson, yeah. Or you can start with Java for Minecraft modding. Alyosha says you don't need to use the C++ features of C++, you can just use it like C. But then you're not actually using C++ if you're using it like C. Marco says, good joke. Joseph says X Wayland compatibility layer is godsend for Wayland users on KDE. Without it, X11 applications would die. True, but I think it depends on the perspective. As I said like half an hour earlier, for my work, I need a couple of applications that are X11 only. These applications don't really work under Wayland or X Wayland. So in my case, these applications are not dying. In my case, I just stick to X server and I don't use Wayland. So the Wayland is the one in trouble from my perspective because I need my applications. I don't need Wayland. Did I explain myself correctly? I need my software with which I do my job. I don't need Wayland. I don't really care about what is underneath my applications as long as my applications function. Because for my work, I need tools that do the job. If my tool works only on X11, then I use X11. If my tool only works on Wayland, then I use Wayland. Just in my case, I have to use X11. Maybe if distributions keep ejecting or expelling the X11 login session, then maybe the developers behind the tools that I need will hurry up and make it Wayland compatible. But in the meantime, I'll simply not switch. When Debian 13 comes out, I'm switching my work laptop to Debian 13. And for the next 2 years, I am on X11. And that's about it. Depending on what Debian decides in 2 years, we're going to see about that. But for the next 2 years, I'm all good and set with X11. History repeats. Red Hat censored me on freedesktop.org. X Libre fork release coming in few days. This morning, Red Hat employees banned me from the freedesktop.org GitLab infrastructure, so censored all my work, not just on Xorg. They killed my account, my Git repos, my tickets in Xorg, and closed all my merge requests, and then making fun of social media about it. They fired the shot that's heard around the world. So much for freedesktop.org being independent and embracing freedom. Perhaps we should nominate them for the next Orwell Award. Let's zoom this in a little bit so it's easier to read. Sorry if you can hear this. I need to move my mic out of the way a little bit. Where's the Orwell Award? Yeah, it's now clear that freedesktop.org is the Red Skirt. I have no clue what Red Skirt is, and they want to kill X. By the way, the same corporation that tried to proprietarize a lot of FOSS code, including the Linux kernel, and I have been one of those who warned about terminating our license grant to them. My most evil heresies probably were forking Xorg and making actual progress. Talking to a journalist whose name must not be spoken in many other Red Hat IBM tax evasion outlets like GNOME, they are also banning honorable long-time contributors for just mentioning that name. Inviting anybody to join me without discrimination. I don't know why, but it really looks they are quite scared by one guy that's just trying to actually bring X11 forward. Hard to find the right words for telling how honored I am about that. This didn't actually surprise me. I know this would be coming for about a year now. Just didn't expect them to do such an extremely irrational and dumb move. Now I am taking great pleasure seeing the Streisand effect kicking in. My inbox is exploding. Thanks for that great publicity. It's not the first time this happens in FOSS world, and it's not the first time it's happening in X. Remember that X386 board, what they did to the Honorable Keith Packard back about 2 decades ago, what led to the birth of Xorg and the death of X386. Same is happening again. History repeats itself. And now the Red Skirts placed me on the same stage as the great Honorable Keith Packard. Wow. Just to be clear, I don't want to fork. I tried my best to work together with the Xorg team. But I knew for a long time this day would come. Xorg has been captured by Red Hat, and in order to get rid or destroy destroy competition. The grammar is a bit weird, or I read it wrong. The necessary consequence is a fork, more competition. For those interested in bringing X forward, feel free to join the mailing list. So this mailing list, Git repo is here. I'm expecting to be banned from whole freedesktop.org mail system too. X communication unfortunately had become a common thing in the so-called free software world. GNOME is just one of many examples, so if you don't hear any more from me on freedesktop.org lists, you know what is going on. Join the X Libre mailing list to stay tuned. Together we'll make X great again. Have fun, MTX. Enrico, IT Consult. That's the first time I read this, actually, so good to read. Allow necessary cookies only. X Libre discussion of the X Libre project. It is a fork of Xorg, which became necessary since the current Xorg maintainers refuse new development on Xorg, which makes sense, of course. List archive, RSS feed. 479 contributors already on Ex Libre, and they don't even have a release yet. Quite interesting. Ahmed is asking, is functional programming worth learning, like Haskell, Lisp, and Nix programming languages? I have no clue about Nix programming language, but Lisp, maybe if you're going to use Emacs. I mean, you can use it in different scenarios, but I don't know, Emacs comes first to my mind as a way to enrich your maybe programming environment. I don't know. I use Emacs to code, to program, to learn coding, to learn programming in C. It works quite well for me. So eventually I might be forced to learn Emacs Lisp as well, simply to make my programming environment better and more suited for my needs. But other than that, I'm not sure. Alejandro is asking, is it that important the program's object-oriented? Is it a better or more efficient way of programming? I have no clue. I only want to learn C because it's like a baseline. It's very low-level programming. It's probably the best. I'm talking about C. It's probably the best language out there, which will give you very solid fundamentals, or maybe that's the wrong word, but the baseline, so that you can better understand how the computer works. And once you are very at home with the memory registers and stuff like that, I think it's a really good, excellent actually, baseline for advancing further. Or maybe both you and I will simply stay with C forever because it's awesome. I don't know. It depends on what you're going to do with it. If you're going to program web pages, then for sure you're not going to use C. If you're going to help with Linux development, then for sure C programming skills are going to be most valuable for you. If you're going to make some lower level applications on Linux, then once again, C is awesome for that. But it all depends on what kind of software do you plan to create in the future. But I still think it's the best language to learn first, simply to prepare you for later, because it is never understanding C properly is never a waste of time, even if you do not end up working with it like full time or something like that. I think it's still very much worth understanding and having some experience with that. Alejandro saying, wow, comparing Free Desktop to Orwell. Xgoy for Studio, the journalist is Lundok, right? Yeah, I think so. He didn't write it, but it smells like Brian Lundok, pretty much. And make X great again. Yeah, that doesn't sound like Lundok, but it does sound like a statement. Well, I am glad they have contributors. Yeah, I don't get why, but if they want to develop it, no problem. Alexei is asking, are you sure it doesn't count X or contributors too? I don't know. It's on GitHub. GitHub x org x11. I forgot what this interface were. Somewhere here should say that this is a fork of Xorg, right? And it should be a link that is clickable to lead me to the parent from which it was forked. There is a code of conduct. There is 404 here. Matrix room. Let's join the matrix room. With fractal. Fractal. Join. Let's see how many people are in there. My matrix server is a little bit slow. Oh, 533 people. Nice. Plan9.rocks is where this room started, so it's not matrix.org. I'm gonna say hello in there. Let's type something. Is anyone There we go. Maybe someone wants to join for fun. This room is active as hell. Let's go back to the GitHub and search for the X server. Let's delete extra links which we don't need. This one and this one. How to join a matrix channel. You're going to get the link to my matrix channel. So you can just click it and join if you have a matrix account. If you want to join anyone else's matrix channel, you just need the invite link and that's it. Forked off X Libre tells Wayland display protocol to DEI in a fire. Oh dear. We're going to read this one soon. I just want to see if Alexei was right. Where is the did I turn it off? I think I turned off the GitHub link. GitHub X Libre, or was it here? It was here, sorry. How many contributors was here a moment ago? It wasn't 493, was it? Oh, 47. I read this number, sorry. I read this number, not this one. Maybe it's the same number, but I might have read the wrong number. So where do I click to see the X org source? Actually, let's go to freedesktop.org. Maybe I'm a bit stupid. You from the stream? Oh yeah. Yes, which if you're on the stream, you're probably going to see, as I typed yes here. Probably gonna get attacked for that title in here. Yes, the title is a clickbait. Yeah. Someone from my chat gave me an idea. Let's just answer this here, actually. Okay, let me see software. Software, XDG, desktop graphics drivers, input, multimedia, projects hosted elsewhere, inactive projects. Did I miss it? X11, Xorg. Ah, here it is. Xorg. Oh, it goes there. Sorry, I just wanted the GitHub link. Where's the Git repo? Oh, it goes there. So it doesn't go to GitHub. I just remembered I need to answer Dart in X Libre Matrix before GTA 6. And there we go. Speaking some facts. Alexei, if you're still here, can you help me out with trying to answer your own question? Because you asked whether the amount of these contributors encompasses the contributors of the original Xorg. And from one perspective, I think that's a reasonable assumption if this would be a GitHub fork. You know, like oh, I cannot log in, sorry. But I don't see where this is linked to a parent. So how do I see that? How do I get to the answer? W says it does include the original contributors, yes. Click on forks in the side menu to see all forks. I have to log in for that. Let me take a different browser for that. I'm not logged into this one. Okay, so I might have too many tabs on Florp, but at least I'm logged on. So let's go with forks. You don't have any forks. Okay, what if I click here? It gives me an option to create a fork. Guys, what am I doing wrong here? In the About section, there is forks at the bottom. Okay, obviously I'm not at home with GitHub. Forks, oh, 72 forks, good. So where is the parent one? You can see this when not logged in. Oh, okay, I have already logged in. So it is what it is, but where do I see the parent fork? The father, I mean not the fork, but the father of the fork. I'm not interested in people who fork ex libris. I'm interested in the Git source from which ex libris was forked. I think my message with a link to the original one got filtered. Let me see W. Channel activity. I don't see your previous messages with the link. It's here. These are all of the forks of ex libris. And this is pretty normal. People have to fork ex libris in order to contribute back with pull requests. So this is fine. But where's the source? Stupid YouTube is blocking my links. I don't know how can I help you with that. Maybe if you are on my Matrix room, you can drop a link there. I'm not sure if I can fix YouTube. I can only make you a moderator. If you want to be a moderator, I will make you one so you can paste links. Issues, code. Iceblade, no, I know what you're saying, but it doesn't work anymore because I told the bot not to filter links anymore. The fork is not. W says the fork is not on GitHub. It's on free desktop GitLab. Precisely, and that's why I thought. That's why I thought that. That's why I thought that this number of contributors is not the contributors of Xorg, the original, but only of Ex Libris. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm just trying to prove whether I'm wrong or right, because actually, let's test it. Let's test my theory. I have an idea. Let's go to Ex Libris server. Let's fork it right now. Let's fork it right now and see what happens. X server test, copy the master branch only, create a fork. Okay, so if my fork has 500 developers, then it's clear what happened. So how many developers are there on my fork? 0. It doesn't even count myself. So what is this telling us? Let's try to go back to the original. Let's go to forks. updated 3 days ago, 2 days ago, 4 months ago. Let's go to this one. No developers here. I might not be understanding how GitHub works. Why all these forks have no developers? Not even one that I clicked so far. X server. Because all of these are simply contributors, correct? So they only forked in order to submit PRs. Nobody is really working on any of these forks. They are not actually forks. Yeah, all of them are the same. Arcboy, I sent an invite on Matrix. What kind of invite? A DM and another one. Copy text. Who was it? Ex Libre. Watching stream predicting your reply is very funny. I like how there is a GitLab-CI in the GitHub. Are we fact checking memes now? Okay. DM invite. Yeah, I have accepted. It's okay, I'm watching stream as well. There you go, thumbs up. That matrix client is way too interesting. Please tell me the name of it. Fractal. Let's ask the people in the, where is it? Let's go back to the browser. I don't understand GitHub very well. Please tell me if these... Oh, I can't paste pictures? My picture is gone? I suppose they don't allow pictures. Okay. Please tell me if 493 contributors of Ex Libre on GitHub are Ex Libre only contributors, like new people, or are they, or is GitHub somehow counting the original Xorg contributors in these? How many was it? 493. 493. Well, is that the question? Yeah. You should read comments from time to time. Again, click that contributors link. Okay. I'm trying Fractal right now, Arcboy says. Okay. Fractal feels a little bit unfinished in terms of features. Just a heads up for you. But it is really clean and works. And I like it being clean. See commits from 2005. Yes. What about commits from 2005? There, I have decreased the timeline. So NWNK, almost 300 commits and stuff like that. I don't understand. What is this telling me? So it's counting all the history. So it's counting all the history from Xorg or from Ex Libre, which is this one. Maybe we're doing it wrong. Let's pull this ahead and just do it this way. January 23, 24. Okay, so past 2 years, roughly. What do we have here? Yeah, okay, we have a lot less. Okay, this makes Ex Libre didn't exist in 2005. Did it? Are you sure that this particular repository didn't exist back then? Maybe it was renamed. Maybe it was the developer who just used this repository for his Xorg development. How would I know how this works? I'm just trying to learn here. But apparently, if I go to the last 2 years, it makes it a bit clearer. I mean, basically, it's mostly one guy, like the majority of commits here. There are some others here with some small here and there commits, almost invisible. Light mode is killing me. Now it's dark. Okay, I suppose this is settled now. So I think what I said in the beginning of the stream still stands. If the main developer behind this entire project and the people around him can, how do I put it, can pull the rope, does that make any sense? If they can do their heavy lifting and make this a thing, then why not? But if they fail, then they're just going to be forgotten. That's all. I think it will require a lot for them if they want to continue doing this and not just maintaining it. Xorg or X11 or whatever you want to call it, it requires a lot of maintenance and a lot of contributing. XGUI4 Studio says if I could help develop Ex Libre, I would. Well, just learn C and help them out. Marco just installed Cine. Isn't Cine the web application the Electron application. Argboy says, so reason being that the main dev got banned from the free desktop GitLab. Yeah, he wanted badly to contribute to Xorg, and as far as I understand, they did not want him to contribute. Whether or not his contributions were good or not good, that is a different topic, but whatever he made, they did not want to accept. So did they not accept his contributions because his contributions were too good, or because his contributions were too bad? I'm not, how would I put it? What is the word? Qualified. I'm not qualified to say anything about that. I would have to go through all of his PRs and literally understand the code to say, okay, this is a legit good code, or okay, this is trash. And I'm not a programmer, so I can't go through that. Alexei says, I wonder what the plan is. Is it just maintenance? If not, then how are they going to persuade toolkits and third-party applications to implement support for new features? This is a better way of asking the same thing as I said. Whether or not these people have what it takes to drive the whole ecosystem forward. I think this is a huge task, because just maintaining the status quo of Xorg will not be enough. People will still abandon ship when Wayland catches up with everything. XGUI4 Studio says, I want to help Xlibre to become mainstream. There are many ways you can help free software projects. You can help with contributing your code. If you don't know how to make, if you're not a programmer, you can help with marketing maybe. Help with evangelism, I don't know. Maybe you can help with packaging in some distributions. There are different ways in how you can help. Maybe you can go to their matrix room and ask them how you can help. Moving from Fostodon to Hakiderm. A commit message in Xorg. How is this relevant to Xorg development? Social media manager for Twitter.com Xorg Foundation. So a line was deleted that said Twitter and Fostodon and GitHub and Oracle. And now there is a line that says Hakiderm, Fostodon, I'm not even sure how to read this, but fine. Wayland development is way too slow. It won't code before at least 2040. Well, if they would allow everyone who is willing to contribute, then maybe it would move faster. I know for sure that there was a Hyperland developer who created something in regards to a mouse pointer. I don't remember what was it. Maybe to teaming of the mouse. He made something that Plasma developers liked, and they were planning to adopt it in Plasma. But then I'm missing a bit of a story here. But basically, the freedesktop.org did not accept his contributions, and then they banned him because someone on his Discord said something wrong, something along those lines. So his contributions to the Wayland protocol was discarded. So yeah, if you develop the protocol in a way that you discard people's contributions, even when they are good contributions from the technical standpoint, then yeah, it goes slowly. I don't know what to say. I'm not a very good developer. Actually, I'm not a developer at all. I'm not even sure if I like the free software development community from a programmer slash contributor standpoint. Let me just switch screens a little bit here. Let's just imagine that I have learned C programming a little bit better. It's just a hypothetical scenario. And I want to contribute to something here in the free software community, something that is being run by some of these bigger companies. And let's say that my code contribution is actually good. I'm still talking about hypothetical scenario because once again, I'm repeating myself, I'm not a programmer, but let's say that I created something useful as a contribution. And some of you guys have typed in my chat that, I don't know, Ex Libre is based. And me, I did not ban you from my chat when you wrote that Ex Libre is based. And some of these people who make decisions tell me that I have to ban you from my chat if I want my contribution to be accepted. And I say, no, I don't want to ban any people from my chat. And then my contribution is not accepted and I get banned from any further contributions. I may be overarching here, but sometimes it feels like that's how things work. Now, can any one of you from the chat tell me that I'm completely wrong and delusional? XGUI for Studio, I'm not saying that it is correct what I have described. I am only saying that this is how it feels lately. It feels like contributions in the free software feel like they work this way. This is cause of code of conduct, but I'm conducting myself okay. I'm not doing anything against code of conduct. My chat may be against doing something against someone's code of conduct in some repository on the internet, and then I'm required to ban you. So indirectly, let's say that my community is misbehaving slightly. Alexei says you're completely wrong and delusional. You're welcome. Zoran is asking, what does based mean? Based is Gen Z jargon. People don't universally agree what it means, but usually it goes like when someone has a firm opinion on something and does not allow, when someone stands his ground very firmly with his opinion and doesn't allow external influence on his opinion. I think that's what based means. You can look it up in Urban Dictionary or something like that. Handy Wyo says popularized by the based god, little b. I have no clue who that is, but I believe you. If you say that's how it is, then okay. Who is that? I have no clue. Little p based kids these days. American rapper from California, basedworld.com. Also known as the based god. Labels based world. Based world. There's nothing about the word. Market summary. Nothing here explains the word. Oh, sorry, I wasn't on my screen. I have had two links open, this one and this one. So on his website, there is nothing that explains what the word based is, and on his wiki, it just says the based god and the based world label. So nothing in particular. Harkboy is asking who wants to get evil and freaky with art. I have no idea what that means. It says right on the Wikipedia page. Really? Slang. But I searched for the word based and it didn't find this. Now it did. Maybe I typed something wrong. I apologize. McCartney's extensive use of social media has yielded his solo career and online persona. Something is wrong with the grammar. McCartney's extensive use of social media has yielded his solo career, and online persona has yielded a cult following. His work spans several genres, including comedy, hip-hop, new age, jazz, indie rock, and choral music. He calls his alter ego the based god and is credited with having coined the slang term based, which originally denoted a lifestyle of positivity, impudence, or boldness. By the late 2010s, the phrase has since been used to describe stances or actions that negate political correctness. Okay, so the original appears to be positivity, impudence, or boldness. I don't know what this word is. the quality of being offensively bold behavior. Shamelessness, forwardness, lack of modesty. Okay, so these two are kind of the same, but also positivity. Term used to describe language policies or measures that are intended to avoid offense or disadvantage to members of particular groups in society. Okay. So there you have it. My dog just arrived. XGUI4 Studio says political correctness is against free speech and free speech essential. Okay. From my point of view, political correctness is usually death to some things such as humor and things like that. But yeah, it has its hands in some of our freedoms. Yeah, I think the major issue with a lot of maybe not real people, but a lot of internet people is that they get offended by quite a lot. And I don't know how this works, but I grew up in a country which many of you would actually call based, simply by reading the definitions here. I mean, we have a lot of humor here, and a lot of our humor is beyond edgy. And if I would tell you some jokes that are very normal in my country, I would probably get banned from YouTube, like immediately, simply because it's not allowed to have such humor on the internet. But where I grew up, this is perfectly normal, and people laugh, and we have a good time. So I don't know. I'm sometimes surprised by how far the internet has come in terms of trying to avoid offending everyone. Arkboy says, bro started speaking brain rot. I really need the explanation on this. I have no clue what that means. Your slang is... I may be too old for that. Brain rot... explain? Slang? What is brain rot? Brain rot is a Gen Z and Gen Alpha slang. Okay, so this is the problem already. Look here. I cannot zoom in because of the ads. So this is the major problem here. I don't understand Gen Z or Gen Alpha languages. And it means when your brain is fully consumed by a hyper-specific meme, fandom, or internet obsession. Here is the full brain rot meaning explaining with examples, origin, and how to say it in 10 plus languages. I can't stop quoting this stupid meme, full brain rot. Used when a meme or niche obsession takes over your thinking. Okay, don't be offended if I don't start talking Gen Z. Alexis says that's an Eastern European thing. What, having humor, like normal humor? Yeah, it could be. It could be. Zoran says, I love the dark humor from your country. I think it all comes down to having good and quality humor. So, from that perspective, yeah. XGUI for Studio says, honestly, free speech is essential, but hate speech or offensive speech is not. But that's my personal opinion. I'm not sure what you mean by essential, not essential. I can try to read between lines, but I didn't quite understand. XGUI for Studio says, I am Gen Z, by the way. Well, you are whatever gen that you were born, right? It's not a problem. I'm just saying that I, being an older person, it may be harder for me to learn the language of the younger generation. That's what I'm saying. I don't really feel like I need to um, learn all of the slang that younger people do. I can talk my own language, should be fine. But even English in general is not my language. So, in reality, how I would feel most at home is if I would actually talk my own language, which would basically sound a little bit like it takes time to switch to my mother tongue and say something that makes sense. But yeah, anyways, XGUI for Studio čini se da je otišao i Buraz se izgleda više neće vratiti. Jako lijepo od njega što je otišao, ali mi ćemo morati nastaviti ovaj stream bez njega. Možda ćemo malo pričati o humoru, možda ćemo malo pričati viceve na hrvatskom jeziku, možda nećemo pričati viceve da nas YouTube ne bi banao, jer ako nas bana onda ćemo imati probleme. But generally, yeah, that's what it would sound if I would be... Marko says, jebi ga šta ćeš. Yeah. I have been speaking English on this channel for a year and a half, and it would take a bit for me to switch back to my own language. I'm just not used to talking to the camera in any other language than English, right? But yeah. Handy Wire says, who gets to police what's proper to say? Only your mother. Only your mother. And nobody else. Alexei says, having offensive humor and overall less polite way of discussion, at least as seen in Western Europe and the US. The thing is, Alexei, I consider our culture... I'm not sure if it's Eastern European or is it Slavic culture, but maybe it's a mix of both. But none of it I consider offensive. It's just the way it is. It's normal. It's a bit different here than it's there, and it works how it works. And the internet is quite a lot Americanized, so from that perspective alone, we kind of fall under American policing, American tone policing. And I'm also streaming on American platform here, so maybe I can start streaming on my own platform, and then we would have some more freedom from that perspective. But then I would not have 15 concurrent viewers, but maybe 2. Arkboy says I'm human, by the way. Yeah, that's my race. My race is human. Marco, Balkan jokes abound. Touché. In a couple of minutes, I am leaving with my dog on a long grassland. We're going to take a walk and stuff like that. Alexei says offensive is always in the eyes of the listener. Here, American way is considered way too much sugarcoating. Yeah, it's the same here. It's the same here. Too much sugarcoating and like say what you mean. Like say what you mean. Don't go around the bush. Marco says it's on eyes or ears of the observer listener. Well, I am I'm a kind of a person who tends to adapt to the other side because I really don't feel good about myself if the other person who I'm talking to is not feeling good in my company, if that makes sense to you. But I also cannot spend too much time around people with whom I cannot be myself. I hope that makes even more sense. So while I'm very, very capable of adapting to the other person, I also very much prefer to go back home. And I don't mean my house, I mean my friends and other people who I feel good about being with. That, you know, a place where I can go back to reset. You know, I will never offend people intentionally, like I would want to hurt their feelings. But if I feel like I need to sugarcoat my speech too much for someone to feel pleasant around me, then I'm just gonna leave. You know, I'm not a person who will start a fight or make people not feel good with me around. But I also don't want to be with those people. It's just the matter of incompatibility. That's all. I want to feel reset, and over the years I have learned that pretty much all Slavic people are pretty compatible with me. It can be various degrees of compatibility, but generally I think it's we are on a line. We'll see how it works. Next month I'm traveling to Turkey. We'll see how it goes over there. Marco Sage says safe place. My safe place? I guess you can say that. I never considered it a safe place. More like a place to go back and reset and you know, feel good. Marcos says we Slavic people are on the same wavelength. Yeah. When Alexei says I'm fine with toning it down when speaking to Western culture people, but I'm not fine when they try to regulate how I speak with people of my culture. Respect needs to be mutual. That is very, very accurate. I'm not sure if I can dig it up quickly, but there used to be a Reddit or subreddit that was called I can't remember the name, but it was about Yugoslavia, basically about Serbians and Croatians and a lot r/Balkan. Is it that one? The one that got banned, deleted, or something? But I remember what happened. So Serbians and Croatians were constantly throwing very rough language at each other on this subreddit, but it was very rough only from the American moderator point of view. These people weren't actually arguing. It's just the way how we communicate here. It was all good. Nobody was really doing anything bad. The language, when you translate it to English, it seemed like this is normal language in the US, and this is what maybe the moderators of Reddit would be able to tolerate before banning people. And this was the language that that Serbians and Croatians were actually throwing at each other. So like 10 times harder than any moderator would tolerate. But this is normal here. Nobody was actually fighting in a bad way. There was no bad blood. It was just fine. And the moderators keep warning them to tone it down and stop doing that. And eventually, to Balkan for you. Yeah, that I think that was it. Reddit to Balkan for you. I think that's the one that was closed or something. Resurrection. This is the new one. This is the new one. To Balkan for you is banned. Yeah, due to violation of Reddit's content policy against harassing content. So Croatians and Serbians were harassing each other, but in reality they were normally talking to each other. It's just that the Reddit moderators were not capable of understanding how we talk to each other. And it is what it is. We call that banter here in the Western world. Yeah, but they got banned. Alexei says, to be fair, Reddit is an American platform and it has American-based rules. Now we are getting to the most important thing that I think about Reddit. Why do people want to centralize themselves on just one platform and being an American one? What happened to all of the forums on the internet? Why do everyone want to have everything on Reddit? What is so special about centralizing everything on one place? Why do you need those karma points? What's the I don't get it. I never had the need to have a Reddit account. I actually made it once, and I had no use of it. Then I deleted it. But I don't get it. Why do you want a Reddit account? If you want to participate in Linux Mint discussions, make yourself a Linux Mint forum account. Don't talk about Linux Mint on Reddit. Do you know where I'm heading with this? If you want to talk about Open Mandriva, open yourself an account on Open Mandriva forums. Don't go talk about Open Mandriva on Reddit. Alexei says, I only knew about Reddit a couple of years ago. Never was on my radar. Average Romanian child. I actually don't get the joke. Average Bosnian, most wanted terrorist. Albanian military technology. A lot of these jokes feel like they are Gen Z, and I say that only to defend myself from not actually understanding these jokes. Yeah, I mean, I can see the tank flying, but I don't get it.
Bobana. Jure, evo Zore, evo Dana, evo Dana, evo Jure, i Bobana. Bobana. Jure zove, Boban kliče, zadom spremni, poglavniče.
This is nice. This is nice. We don't have black people here, but they are teaching him one of our nationalist songs. You could what they are teaching this black guy, you could consider not exactly a Nazi song, but some people could give you this vibe. So they are teaching him what they think he should learn. Fascist? Yeah. Okay, you can say that. 29 upvotes. Yeah. This is actually a common joke. Not this particular one, but Croatians do have a roughly this kind of opinion of Serbs. Not sure if Alexei has this perspective, but stereotypes about everyone. Yeah, stereotypes. Arcboy says, watch out for YouTube ban. Why would I get banned on YouTube from reading what is publicly available on another American platform? Obviously, I'm not going to read the text that I'm not supposed to read because the YouTube listens to what I say on my videos. They make a transcription of everything I say, and they use it for the algorithm. They use it for deciding whether or not I get a strike or something like that. But I don't think what is on my screen matters that much. Alexei says we don't really think about Balkans much. It's too confusing in a way. Yeah, it is. Balkans is confusing for foreigners. It is.
What the hell? Oh my God, no way.
I'm not sure what was funny here.
Oh my God, no way.
Average Turkish fridge, like being full or something? I don't get it. Ah, who mentioned Slovenians in my chat? Someone mentioned Slovenians. I kind of missed it in chat, but Marco did. Yeah, does this picture, is this picture what you said earlier in chat? Is this it? Check matrix? Check matrix. What? Alexis says gotta go. Yeah, I have to go as well. I already told you I'm leaving soon. Arc boy, you didn't type anything on a private message. Guys and girls, let's wrap it up. In the Ex Libre, oh, there is a lot of stuff here. Which part do you want me to read? Like all of it, or have a nice rest of the evening? Yeah, you too. I'm gonna read it offline. Once again, I had the wrong screen open. Never mind. Let's wrap it up for today, and I'm gonna see you again on a live stream on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday evening. Just check it out. It's all fun. Yeah, I will. It's just running very fast. There is a lot of stuff going on. See you on a live stream in 2 days. Good night from Zagreb. Yeah, good night from Zagreb.